NFL Draft Round 1, and we're dialing in here with Tom McAllister, Sports Talk Line, New York Giants expert extraordinaire. The New York Giants pick is in. Man, who's it going to be, Tom?
It looks like Daniel. Oh, my God, it's Daniel Jones, the QB from Duke. You've got to be absolutely kidding me.
All right.
My sweet mother of this. Oh my! Is this a joke?
It must be. It
must be. My! This is the air freaking.
Okay, well, as you can hear from Tom McAllister right now, almost all of New York Giants fan base right now is groaning and asking, "What the fuck?" I like this guy. Don't get me wrong. I like
not
him
at
as a
number
QB.
6.
I don't like him at number 6. No, I
don't.
Not
at number 6. So you. Oh my.
Okay, well, let me ask you this. How is this guy better than what the Cardinals were offering in Rosen?
I think this is one of the things where I guess they went for. They didn't address any of their other needs. They swung and missed with Kyle Lauletta last year. The worst thing that has ever happened to Kyle Lauletta was that blowout against Washington.
Right.
I thought they could get an offensive tackle. I thought they could get a pass rusher. This move is shocking when you get someone who has been compared to Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah, that's his comparison. Yeah, Ryan Tannehill. Yeah. And yeah, they're saying right there on the screen right now, Ryan Tannehill or Matt Ryan. Hey, let me give you my take on it, Tom, and you tell me if I'm in the ballpark. This smacks of politics, GM politics. Okay, Gettleman, who I have loved up till now. Okay, what I'm saying is he passed on the QBs last season, and so he's not going to make a trade for one because he passed on them. He's saying like, no, our guy's coming up. And then it didn't really shake down like they wanted. 2020 is really going to end up being the huge QB year that I think everybody was looking for. But the pressure's on right now. And the Kyle Lauletta thing, I think this pick smacks of pressure politics, and I think it's a reach by the New York Giants.
I totally agree it's a reach. And know what? I'm going to make a bold prediction right now. The Giants will draft another quarterback in the first round in 2020.
Woo! And different GM or the same GM?
I still see them going with the same GM because I don't see the Giants turning over GMs that quickly.
I hope not.
And also, the Giants will have a lot of money in cap space next year.
Right.
This was, I think, not. They could have gotten him at 17. They could have. There were so many other needs, but they got Taylor from Florida State or Josh Allen, an edge rusher. I think everyone would have been fine with that. But this is.
I mean, he's number 6 on our QB board. Okay, and like here's what Connor Livesay has to say about him. One of the more polarizing prospects in the draft class. A likely top 20 pick is how he put him, not a top 10 pick. Okay. And he said it was a roller coaster evaluation, and because there's a lot of bad film on him, just a lot of bad film. When he's good, he's very good, but there's a lot of bad film, and he's struggled with accuracy in the intermediate and deep ball. I mean, is that who you want up there? Now, admittedly, you did send out your best wide receiver, so maybe there's nobody to throw to anymore. I mean, I love the pick last year, the running back, but don't you need somebody at quarterback?
Hold on. Here's the sound effect.
Yeah, it's drinking time. It definitely is drinking time.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I think most New York Giant fans are doing right now. Luckily, they got Saquon Barkley. I guess they're going to be a run first, run second, run third, run fourth offense. Maybe they can go back to the wing tee.
I'm shocked. I'm just I'm still blind blown here. Here's another thing I'm going to ask you, and this is a tough question, Tom. This is a tough question, but as of right now, I think it's a legitimate question.
Okay.
Has there been a changing of the guard in New York It was the New York Jets that always make the stupid draft picks, that their fans go nuts because Mickey Mack just boned another draft pick. And now all of a sudden, the Jets turn around and they get what arguably is the best guy in the draft at defensive tackle. And the Giants, I'm going to say, as a minimum, I think they reached.
Yes, I definitely think this is a reach. I think I could have almost understood if they did not get a quarterback this draft and be like, know what, we don't like our guy, because this could be a draft pick that sets the Giants back for 5 to 10 years.
Okay,
you know?
but now here's the flip, Tom. Here's the flip. This guy is polarizing. What another way of listening to that is, yeah, he's got bad film, but he's also got good film. All right, and when you take a guy like that, and if you stick him on the Cardinals, they won and done him. If you put him on the Giants and you have a stable organization with a really good running game, a nice offensive line, which is starting to be built there, you're setting this guy up to have success. Whether or not he can do it, okay, that's another thing. But he is being put in a good situation, and he's going to be behind Eli Manning. I mean, this is a guy that is, he's seen every defense out there.
Yeah,
Twice.
I also look at it like this. If you build up the offensive line and run game, that's good. You can look at it. Blake Bortles has made it to the conference championship game. It's just you have to be concerned. I'm having a Dave Brown flashback. As the Giants quarterback picked from Duke, Tom Coughlin picks up Josh Allen. So, know what? Let me make another prediction. Josh Allen.
Oh, man. Now, hold on. Coughlin took the guy that the Giants should have taken? Oh,
yes.
Come on. Is that ironic or what?
Yeah. Yeah, you have Josh. You know what? I'll make another prediction. Josh Allen will be Defensive Rookie of the Year. And, this could be just Dave Gettleman. Like, he drafted well. I did like his draft overall last year.
Yeah, I did too.
And these could just be the swing and misses. Like Josh Allen could be this once generational talent. And I do think this is politics. I think they said, know what, we need to get the quarterback. You also, this is going to challenge Pat Shurmur, because hopefully,
good call.
Hopefully this is a guy be like, listen, this is a guy we're going to build around, because he took Case Keenum to a conference championship game. So he can win with less, but it also makes it more important to build everything else around him.
But he had to sign off on this pick, didn't he?
Yes, and I think the Mariners also had to sign off on it. I think they're kind of like, let's stop this, pick your guy now. But also, too, this is the third year in a row that the Giants have drafted a quarterback. They drafted, they drafted Davis Webb, who isn't there, Kyle Lauletta, and now they have Jones.
But here's something else that they did here, okay? Here's something else that they did. And I think this goes back to, what OBJ was reacting to, where they were talking about a change of culture, never mentioning OBJ by name, but, of course, mentioning him by not mentioning him. And saying that, they needed to change the culture with the New York Giants in the locker room, but there was some players that needed to go. Okay, he didn't say need to go, but he made it clear what he was talking about. And of course, OBJ hit him back on Twitter saying, and had his comments on it. But that's one thing you can say about this QB. This QB, he's from Duke. He's a white bread boy. He is as straight laced as it gets.
When I look at culture, this is one. Even though OBJ is not a Giant anymore, people will try to connect everything to OBJ. And I believe the culture issue was not. Odell Beckham Jr. That if you had, I believe, Antonio Brown doing if Odell Beckham Jr. was doing what Antonio Brown was doing, the internet would have melted 3 times over upon a black hole.
I agree with that. That's the New York media. You're 100% correct. And I would be remiss. Hold on. I would be remiss if I didn't mention that what OBJ's response is, hey, I'm on a losing team. Yeah, it's a problem. Okay, because I don't accept losing. And he's got a point, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think the issue with Odell Beckham Jr. was he was on the team for 4 years. One, he hasn't stayed healthy the last 2 years.
No.
Two, you get that franchise wide receiver that doesn't guarantee you championships. That doesn't even guarantee you playoff appearances.
Yeah, but you're so right about the overblown. I mean, I think he was just a magnified version of Dez Bryant. I mean, Dez Bryant used to catch all of this flack for everything he did, for like having his pants down too low in a mall, for buying some jewelry. I mean, think about what I just said. Those are problems? No, those are not problems. And OBJ wasn't a problem either. He was a mercurial talent. He was a diva. You've either got the team structure to handle that or you don't. They decided to move on. I don't think it's a problem from either side. I mean, OBJ is probably going to end up in the Hall of Fame. Maybe not, but I think the chances are he will.
Well, it all started going bad for OBJ that one game against Carolina and Josh Norman.
Yeah.
When we can pinpoint that one game when they changed the rules because of him.
I don't think the Josh Norman thing was it. I think it was the kick and net. No.
No, it was. It was.
I'm joking. I'm joking.
No, but remember, he made up and he proposed to the kicking net the week later. So
that's true. He did. He made up for that. Okay, you're right. Okay.
They're actually registered at a few places around here too. Bed Bath and Beyond and all that stuff. He doesn't need cash, you know that much.
That's true. Oh, that's true. All right. Now let's change up a little bit. Let's talk about Clelin, the Jacksonville Jaguars. They just picked, and they took a guy that you predicted. Now, of course, you were talking as a chagrined, a recently singed New York Giants fan. In reality, that guy has all the talent in the world at linebacker, and I look at him as like a JPP pick, don't you?
I looked at a pass rusher.
That's JPP version 2.0.
This is the way I look at it. Was the last time the Giants picked a pass rusher from a basketball school was Lawrence freaking Taylor.
That's what I'm saying, man. That's the guy right there. But he's a year or two away, probably.
Yeah, but still, it's better than what the Giants have. And usually, the key to the Super Bowl success for the Giants was they would get pass rusher after pass rusher. So it would not have surprised me if the Giants just kept on drafting the pass rushers.
Right.
And then just gotten two or three. And then, hey, guess what? One of them is going to get through the quarterback, if not more of them.
That's how the big teams do it. Absolutely. All right. So, but anyhow, he also has picked some guys. Clelin down there has picked some, whatever, guys that are intensely talented. But like JP, they have to be handled a certain way. I think he's the guy that can handle, all these guys down there and bring this defense back to the front of the league. Because last year they had issues, didn't they?
The Jaguars went from the sexy pick. They came out early. They beat the Patriots. Everyone thought they were going to go to the AFC Championship game, and man, when it got ugly quick.
Oh, absolutely. Hey, man, I got to give hands up right here to the Detroit Lions. I think they just nailed this pick at number 8, going tight end T.J. Hockenson. I love that pick.
Usually they go somewhere else and they're successful. Well, I think he seems like more of the all-around tight end where he can block, he can be a receiver, which is something that there are certain tight ends that can do one or the other. He can do both, so that makes it more diverse as a play caller going forward. Where the team can't keen in on basically what they're doing based off that, off the formation. Yes, and I think too, he's a throwback football player, which you want in a tight end, you know, and that's a good solid selection. So luckily he's not in the NFC East, and he won't. Oh man, I'll tell you this: I mean, Jason Witten. I mean, he'll have 5 touchdowns next season. 4 of them will be against the Giants, probably. So I think a lot of times too, depending on how your roster is constructed, you go with the best available player. So the Jets are at the point where they don't need a quarterback. They Sam's their man. They're going forward with him. Now they get to build around it. Now they can just go for the best available player. And with that too, when you add the defensive lineman, you know what? That solidifies kind of what they need. They need that presence up the middle, whether they're a 3-4 or 4-3 defense. And that's something too. You mentioned, okay, you got the Patriots, you need to stop Tom Brady. And, there's a blueprint to do it, and that's hit him as often as possible. The Dolphins somehow figure out a way to get him, usually at least once a year, or a team takes them out early in September, or October. But I feel like the Patriots are the team that know what they'll ease their way into it. They know they can make it through the AFC East and get that division, and then they'll just move on from there. So no, that when you look at the Patriots dynasty, you definitely have to take that in consideration. The Jets had some flashes of it, but Miami and Buffalo, they have struggled to say the least. They're still keep on trying to find their franchise quarterback going forward. And this is one where, it does help out when, you're going to win your division. You're going to at least get one home game. Um, Even a bye, that always helps out. But, you got to give Belichick credit. He always finds ways to get talent and get the most out of talent. Mhm. Mhm. Well, I think too, this is where people look at the draft combine maybe a little too much and not more on the film. Where they look at, all right, who's the fastest, who's the strongest, who has all the measurables instead of who's the best football player. And because you can only get so much out of it from a 12, 13 game season. You want to know what won't surprise me is if in a few years you just see guys being like, know what, right when their team is eliminated from the national title picture, they're like, know what, I'm not even going to play anymore. I'm just going to declare for the draft for Bosa, and you got Jalen Smith to thank for it. Yeah, and I think also too, you got to look at it. Certain teams are built a certain way, and if you're up in Buffalo in December for a game, it's going to be ugly. You need to win playing ugly. And with this selection, he's being compared to Aaron Donald, which is probably the best selection you want as a defensive tackle. This guy could be the best defensive lineman in the draft right now. And if you get a defensive tackle that's able to pressure the quarterback, Mhm. you know, and that goes to be seen. All depends on the defensive scheme that they run going forward. Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, I mean, he could be, but it also depends on the scheme. If you're going with the 3-4, you usually want the three defensive tackle types up front, and then you get the edge rushers, which is you're slowly getting the NFL switching back to the 3-4 slowly. I'm not saying it's happening all the time. I guess they're trying to copy the Patriots, but you got to look to it. You might be able to, yes, yes, and I think too, coaches want multi-dimensional players, and okay, can you go from standing up? Can you go in your stance? All that stuff. That's what they're probably looking at, and Mhm. well, I think when you acquire Flacco, you can win a Super Bowl with him at quarterback, which I think is the most important question. And I think didn't he break Denver's heart with a Hail Mary throw in that Super Bowl run? Um, so he kind of found out the hard way, but they could kind of do what they did with Patrick Mahomes, who Ben McAdoo liked, was bring a quarterback in, have them learn. But I think Flacco is not at the point of his career where he's going to retire in a year or 2. Mhm. Yeah, and I see them. Maybe they get the wide receiver, they get that big weapon that they get. Be like, if we're gonna eventually go to a quarterback, let's establish the wide receiver so he has a safety net, kind of like the way Sterling Shepard was, or was it what was? Yeah. Oh, Steelers. Breaking news! It looks like the Broncos traded the pick to the Steelers. Hmm. Metcalf. Yeah, and it's also too Ben Roethlisberger just signed a nice big extension, so not in the Russell Wilson category. So you want to make sure he gets some weapons. Well, if he, at least he can at least he can move in one direction.
Hey, Van.
Mhm.
I'm good, man. Van, I think this is where your dude Devin Bush comes in. Steelers need to replace Ryan Shazier. Here's where they get your guy, Bush, out of Michigan.
I wouldn't say they're stupid. They're just trying to fill a void that they got. Yep, they went with Bush.
He's a 3-down linebacker, 5'10", but that doesn't bother me. As long as those offensive linemen can't get their big mitts on him, he's sideline to sideline. He's a tackling machine. He can even cover. They've been missing him. They've been missing that tackling machine since Ryan Shazier. The Steel City's all about defense, and they just got a stud. He's going to turn that whole defense around. Oh yeah, I remember. Oh yeah, the Saints. They had those three linebackers back in the day. I'm not going to knock Devin White, man. I love Bush too, man, but man, Devin White's a stud. That's
Well, this could be a situation where the Bengals, whoever they draft, is an upgrade. And I think sometimes when you're in that position, you're better off going with the best available.
Best available, you could go a bunch of different directions. I think they might go for need though, man. They need a tight end. They lost a couple of players at the tight end position. They hadn't had a lot of production there. I think Noah Fant might sneak in right now. Dalton needs help, man, and Noah Fant could do that.
Well, I'd say the one thing that might be a little surprising is no offensive tackles are off the board yet.
Yeah, Juwan Taylor.
Yep, Jamon Taylor. Well, hey, speaking of the Devils, Williams comes off offensive tackle, Alabama. Yeah, guess so. Guess so. Is this more head scratching than Daniel Jones? Mm-hmm. That that's true. Now with Green Bay, I see them going tight end at 12. What do you think, bro?
Is this where my dude Noah Fant goes? Needs any more help? Dear God.
Could have been the offensive coordinator. I think that kind of came to the point. Very rarely do usually if you can choose between the quarterback or the coach is the one that goes. So I won't be surprised if Aaron Rodgers influences this next pick. So
He dealt with Jermichael Finley back in the day. Jimmy Graham's obviously lost a step. They didn't hit it off last year, but I don't know if anybody could with Jimmy Graham. But he's done it before with the Texas kid, Jermichael Finley. They lost Randall Cobb. They don't really have anybody over the middle. Could be an option. Yeah, you got problems.
well, wasn't Tom Brady the number
Yeah,
two
he's not the
quarterback at
blocker.
Michigan?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I just just sorry for interruption, but I think Tom Brady was the number two quarterback at Michigan. So mhm. That was many years ago.
Oh God, he was all.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it could be you're kind of getting,
Yeah, the
uh,
big two are gone.
do you go with Montez Sweet? I mean, he kind of has some, I guess, uh, non-football related issues that could be holding him down. At least there hasn't been a video of him hitting a gravity bong, so far. So so far, who knows? They might wait for after the draft pick.
Okay. They addressed the secondary pretty hard last year in the draft. They took Josh Jackson. He's a corner. They also took Jair Alexander. He was a corner too. They obviously are looking at safety, and they did lose Clinton Ha Dix. There's some solid talent out there. They could get the best safety on the door.
Well, they did take Rashan Gary, defensive end, Michigan, so they went with defense.
Mm.
I think punter and kicker were next. I think he's what you mentioned before. He's like the hybrid player. He could be a defensive end. He could also be an outside linebacker. Uh, I guess Green Bay, that would probably might be like you mentioned too. He might fit into it too. He kind of has that Midwest feel coming from Michigan. Um, and no matter how many points you put up, you need some guys to make plays on defense too. The reason why Aaron Rodgers has a Super Bowl ring was because that year the Green Bay defense created turnovers. I think with the Giants selecting a quarterback, they're not going to trade for Rosen. So that gives Miami more leverage in trading for Rosen, so they might be able to address another need with this pick.
Man, I just really like Haskins' productivity, man. In college, you're getting a franchise QB at 13. I don't know if they love player, but with all the money you save getting that rookie quarterback on a rookie contract, 50 touchdowns at Ohio State. I don't know, pull the trigger on a quarterback here at 13.
But I think my counterpoint is, when was the last time an Ohio State quarterback was successful in the NFL? Because I put him in the same category as a lot of those USC quarterbacks, where they're great in college because they have a pro at every position. You know? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I've been hearing Cowboys like to have bad QBs. I went through the Quincy Carter era, the Chad Henson era. It's not fun, man. And the Dolphins just, yeah, yes, sir. Okay, with the 13th pick in the NFL draft, the Miami Dolphins select defensive tackle Christian Wilkins from Clemson. He was a solid guy, Van. He ended up with 16. Yeah, he had 16 and a half sacks. He can play the run, he can play the pass. He's about 6'3", 300 pounds. The Dolphins have a ton of holes, and there's nothing wrong with that in offensive and defensive line. You got to get those trenches figured out, man. Christian Wilkins, he'll go a long way for fixing that.
Well, I think too, when you saw what they did to Alabama, it,
Oh my gosh. He's roughing the up, man. Yeah, he's jacked.
Now, let me ask you this question. Do you think Clemson is becoming one of those teams where it's so hard to evaluate talent for the next level because there's so much talent on the next level on that defensive line? Where
There's a lot of talent, but hey man, Texas is 1 year. You know, if you're a junior and that senior leaves, that's your time to shine. And they just keep replacing guys year after year. It doesn't matter if you know you don't have to come in and start as a true freshman. You got that 1 year, you put big numbers against that big time competition. As you can see, you'll get drafted, man. They're spitting out defensive linemen and just talent in general like crazy. Must be tough to recruit up there, man.
Yeah, pretty much where it's, one of those situations where, you got to wait 3 years to declare. But also, too, you can have that one great season. Look, uh, Baker Mayfield was the top pick last year. And guess what? The top pick this year was his replacement. So with football, you just need that one great season, and that could set you up. Yep. Well, it won't be one and done anymore. Yeah, I'm just going to stop there before I go into my basketball tirade. Yeah.
Epic. Yes, he did. Oh yeah, we're not counting that bullshit. We're not counting that bullshit that the kicker from Philly did. That does not count. You got to send your kicker out there. Come on. Yeah, your kicker.
I mean, I think this is a little surprising because usually the left tackle or right. Yeah. You usually go interior line, because, Giants picked Will Hernandez, and thank you. I was very glad he fell to the Giants last year in the second round. I think, Quentin Nelson was a monster at guard this season. A lot of times you see the tackles go before the guard. But hey, if you see someone that can solidify a position, you hit guard once, that sets you up for 5 or 10 years.
I think it depends on the position. You know, a guy like Lindstrom, they might reach, but he's also got some position flexibility. He's played guard, he's played tackle, and, you know, in a pinch, you never know with the 53-man roster. If somebody goes down, he could step in a game or two. We've seen it happen.
Well,
So, you know, if your guys got some flexibility, it might work.
well, I also think too. It also depends on how your roster is set up. If you're in a position where, you know, you're just going for best available, maybe I can understand a reach more than if you have other needs all across the board. You know, if you have needs all across the board, then you should go with best available and someone that's not a reach. Will Hernandez.
Hernandez. Washington.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. And
Exactly what I was thinking.
man, how would Dave Gettleman feel if always losing to Haskins? Oh, boy. Or or they or they let you walk. Yes. Now, did you see them going for Sweat from Mississippi State right here?
Darius Guys. Yeah, Darius Guys. Right. Uh, so you're asking about the talent at running back? Ooh. Wow. Pittsburgh. I really like John Connor. The Ravens just signed Mark Ingram. I like Joe Mixon in Cincy. You got Chubb, and they also picked up what's his name from Kansas City? That's a loaded backfield right there in that division. I was about to say that's
Well, they did just draft Dwayne Haskins. Washington did, 15th overall pick. So, he's off the board. Yes.
absolutely.
Now, how would that hurt his growth?
Sure.
Yep. I, I do agree because since Snyder has taken over, the Redskins have been an afterthought in the NFC East. The Cowboys, the Eagles, the Giants, everyone in that division has had their success except Washington.
There was rumors that Snyder was in the draft room messing up the draft board to this day, but he was supposedly really high on Haskins, and Snyder was the guy that Snyder wanted was Haskins all along, and was even thinking about trading up to get him. So if they sat here at 15 and got their guy, like we were talking earlier, it's a home run.
You go back to the point before where I feel like Ohio State, similar to US, it's easy to be a quarterback when you position in college. We'll see how he had 50 touchdowns. We'll see how that. Just kicking me when I'm down. Kicking me when I'm down. Yeah, it's like, really?
He reminds me of Jameis Winston. Eating the W. Yeah, who ate that W? And their body composition too. They look like the same kind of athlete. They're built the same way, same body composition. He's a little more. He makes the ball a little better. He only threw 8 interceptions last year. I
Yeah.
think Jameis threw 12 or 13 last year, so he's a little more careful with the ball.
Yeah, I think too. Jameis Winston has had that problem even when he was at Florida State. He was a turnover machine. I think it all depends on when you draft. How does it address the needs of your team? Because if you keep on drafting great wide receivers, but that's great and all, but are they going to play? What's the impact they make? You have to pick smart. You got to get the best guy available for the need. Depending on the situation you're in.
Yes, sir. With the 16th pick in the draft, Carolina Panthers select defensive end Brian Burns, Florida State. He is a quarterback go-getter. Yeah, they've lost some talent there. Getting after the quarterback is at a premium in the NFL, and the Carolina wants to play defense like that. They want to run the ball. They don't want to get in a shootout like that. And a defensive end in that division, that's going to be crucial for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. I think I was aware of that too.
He's already gone, man. He's not available.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing too. The one guy, I think Josh Allen was the main guy I wanted. I'll take the tackle from Florida. I believe Taylor's his name. Just want, and I think that would fit the need. Um, who knows what they do here? At least I know they can't draft Eli Apple. So this is going to be one of the things where okay, Gettleman. I don't think he made a lot of fans with the first pick in the first round. So we'll see what he does here. They need pass rusher or tackle to address their need. If they do get a tackle, this could potentially finally solve the Giants' offensive line problem, which they've had for the last 4 or 5 years, and would be a great foundation for Saquon Barkley going forward. So I mean, are we at the point where we know what an Elway guy is? Because so you want pretty much the highly established person at that position to come in, you know. Yeah, that is true. You got to see, do you need quantity or quality, which I think is one of the decisions you make. And it's also too, if the guy you want, is already taken, and you think you can get him further down the line, then absolutely get more picks, or or more quantity, and someone can fit it in if you get the right trade.
I think they're going with the tackle.
Yeah, I think that's the guy to go with.
This will be good for you, Tom.
I think so too, but who knows what they'll get.
I'm going to do you a solid here, Tom.
No, I'm at the point. I'm at the point where I'm like, should I find where I want to punch my hand through my wall? It's kind of yeah, yeah. It's
Tom, y'all are about to get y'all are about starting. You're about to get your starting right tackle. It's the kid Taylor from Florida, man. You already got Nate Soldier at left tackle. You got Hernandez at left guard. You from Cincinnati. Right tackle right here would finally protect Eli or your quarterback of the future and open up holes for Barkley. Taylor will definitely finish the rebuild on the horrible offensive line. You're welcome, Tom.
Yeah, I'm thinking Taylor, or God only knows what's going to come out of my mouth if they don't draft Taylor right now. So mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. So they're giving the pick off. It's great because I have the sound off. So they're just building up the suspense. They're giving it to our Dexter Lawrence.
Oh,
Why are you
Dexter
drafting
Lawrence.
What? Huh? What? Okay, the New York Giants have selected defensive tackle from Clemson, Dexter Lawrence. This is a little surprising to me because I feel like they have a lot of depth on defensive tackle, and that would be the last thing they're going for. In the first round, I can understand maybe an edge rusher. I can understand offensive tackle, but obviously, no one is in. Obviously, no one knows what's going on in David Gettleman's head right now. These are very, I think, unorthodox picks. With my instant reaction, he might fit the defensive tackle model for the 3-4 defense. Um, Harrison. Well, but also too is the reason why they're able to trade Snacks Harrison was because of the play of B.J. Hill, who they drafted last year, and the play of Dalvin Tomlinson, who they drafted the year before. So yeah, this is definitely surprising. Definitely surprising. Well, now I think too. Now you got to start asking questions. Do you have to start pointing the finger at John Mara now? You know, because John Mara was there for Jerry Reese. He was there for Tom Coughlin. I think, the watershed moment was when they had Tom Coughlin resign, but they kept Jerry Reese. No, no, absolutely not. And I think that's what they kind of went for. I think.
I tell you what I don't like about it, man. Dexter Lawrence, he's a nose tackle. And like we were talking running backs earlier, what do the Giants want to do to the Cowboys? Shut down Zeke. He's 6'3", 340. He's going to clog the middle.
And then you can have Dalvin Tomlinson and B.J. Hill. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure. No, what though? I just want to point something out. I am absolutely amazed at wherever these players are at. They got the hat for the team that picked them. I'm absolutely amazed at all 32 teams. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, I think center is one of the positions you rarely see go in the first round. And it's one of the positions where if you draft him in the first round, he needs to be an all-pro or a pro bowler. Mm-hmm. I do agree. And with that note,
and the Vikings, I was going to say the Vikings, they took Pat Elfine a couple of years ago, and he's been playing center for them, but he's got some versatility too. So If Bradbury's going to be your center, they can move Elfine over to guard, and he'd be a heck of a guard because he played there in college. And they needed to rework that offensive line, so they've got some options there. Oh yeah, a lot of pieces to move on that offensive line to get the job done.
I
I
definitely
hate
do
to
not
keep
see.
going, Noah Fant, but man, they're long in the tooth. We just keep talking to.
Yeah, eventually someone has to get them, and a tight end's a unique weapon in the NFL that teams need right now.
Oh my God.
Yep, that's about it. That Eli Apple and Eric Flowers have already been
This is
drafted
great.
too. So,
Oh no, not Eric Flowers.
well, it's kind of one of the things, with the Giants, they hit a home run with one first round pick, and then they absolutely go into the tank the other one. So, and here's the thing too: you have two picks that surprised everyone from the Giants' perspective. So, the 3-4 defense, you might be able to buy into it. Also depends on the development of Lorenzo Carter at linebacker. We'll see who falls in the second round, though. I think that's going to be the make or break. Yeah, I can definitely see him going for that.
Yeah, but I think they're set. They're set at tackle, man. They're set at tackle. They got Jack Conklin. They got Tyler Luan. They're set at offensive tackle. They might go on the interior. And Delaney Walker, he ain't getting him. Or Hollywood Brown.
Could be greedy too. Yeah, it sounds like the name of somebody.
Yes, sir.
Oh, they went with Jeffrey Simmons, defensive tackle from Mississippi State. On that note, I'll say goodnight to both of you guys on the East Coast. So I'm pretty confident you guys will be able to finish strong. You can find me at defends_com on Twitter, at DFENDS_com. Have a good night, guys.
Later, Tom.
No, I'm just going to break down. It's not even going to be about the quarterback. I'll just be a breakdown.
Yeah, he had some character issues, which is maybe why he slipped a little bit. A lot of people had him as a top 10 talent, but like I said, the character issues, they can really make you drop, especially in the NFL. But he's a baller, man. I was kind of hoping he'd slip to the beginning of the second and the Cowboys would move up and get him. He's a hell of a talent, man. He can get after it. Right. Yeah, and he's going to be next to Jarrell Casey too. So now they're real stout right up the middle. Their defensive tackle combo in that division, they've got it. They might have him in a. I was going to say they might be looking. We were talking about Greedy earlier. Chris Harris has had some contract problems up there, and they love their corners. This might be where Greedy goes right here for Denver.
They took Noah Fant. What's up? Yeah, I mean, Denver needed a tight end, but I don't know. I figured, I mean, they got a lot of holes on defense, and I think they could have used some offensive linemen. With Jawan Taylor still being there, I thought they could maybe look at that pick. But, I mean, I guess they look at it as they added Cortland Sutton last year. They have Emmanuel Sanders still, and with what they got at quarterback, I guess they're trying to get more weapons on offense, and Noah Fant can be that guy. The Steelers traded up with them to move up 10 slots, so the Broncos going at it right now. Coming off consecutive losing season counts for the first time in 47 years.
I tell you what, this Montez Sweat slipping's got me thinking something.
Over who? Metcalf? Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's going to go in the first. I think the only receiver that's going to go in the first tonight is Marquise Brown. I think he'd probably come off the board at Baltimore here. Yeah, he was actually probably a little more productive. But a lot of he's a traits pick. He struggles with his hands at times, and isn't the complete tight end that Hockenson is, but he's a guy with really great athletic ability and measurables, and like I said, his route running ability, his traits make him worth a top 20 pick. Did I have him going to Denver? Oh yeah. Which obviously Pittsburgh traded up and drafted Bush. It's awful. He was the 144th player on my board, and they drafted him at 6th. Oh, I believe it. Well, and then they used the pick they traded Odell Beckham Jr. for to draft a nose tackle after trading away Damon Harris, the best nose tackle in the NFL, in the middle of the year last year. What trade? It was like a 6th or 7th round pick. I mean, it was like, yeah. I don't know. I mean, he was making decent money as a nose tackle, but he wasn't like one of the top defensive trades. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I think he's a pretty safe pick. I think his ceiling's high, but I don't think he has a necessarily low floor either. I don't know if he's got bust potential, but I don't know if I think his ceiling, you're looking at a guy that made an impact similar to, like what George Kittle's starting to do with I know we compare Hockenson to him too, but they're kind of similar style of players as well. But I mean, at worst, he's just going to be a guy that you can put in the slot, and he can make plays down the field as a big slot. So it's not like they just traded back. I'm not sure yet. Yeah, I don't know who's coming up yet. I just saw where they were trading back. Packers are traded up with Seattle. Sorry, I'm just. Yeah, he's got his knee. Wasn't able to run or do much during the draft process because he had a knee injury. So that could be it, but I'm surprised he's dropped this far. I don't know. He could be, if it's not Marquise Brown, then Montez Sweat could be the pick to Baltimore here. Coming up next.
Moving down into their spot 30th overall. If that's the case, then the Seahawks will wrap back.
Yeah, they could use a safety to attack the cornerback position. As far as the biggest drop, dude, it's Sweat. And go ahead.
It's probably me, honestly.
It's not me.
Where's our mother?
I'm on mute. Yeah, and like you said, the safety position, they draft last year at corner. The top safeties are still out there, and if they want to finish the back end of that secondary, they could pull the trigger on Thompson right here.
I wouldn't be surprised if this was Drew Lock, the quarterback from Missouri. Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking that the Chargers also like Drew Lock, so they traded up and took the Darnell Savage, the safety from Maryland. So Darnell Savage is Green Bay.
Yeah, that's what it is, man. That's what it is.
Eagles just traded
I was saying,
up.
yeah, that's what it is. They lost Clinton Ha Dick. They had to go somewhere.
He's. I don't mind it with him. He wasn't quite ranked as a first-round player on my board. He was my fourth best safety. Had him in the 30s, so it's not too crazy of a reach. I don't like that they had to trade up to get him because they gave away more value. The Eagles just jumped up and traded with the Ravens, so now the Eagles are on the clock.
Eagles are. I know who the Eagles are taking. I think this is where Josh Jacobs goes.
This
Josh
is
Jacobs, running back.
This is going to be Marquise Brown if I had to put my money on it. And I don't think they would have traded up for Jacobs. I think if Jacobs fell to him, they'd draft him. But it comes down to Marquise Brown and probably Jacobs. I just don't know if they would trade up to get their runner. It's not so much his height, more so as his frame. He's a skinny guy. He's sub 200 pounds. So most NFL teams don't want their safeties to be small because they're taking a lot of big. They're giving a lot of big hits, but they're also absorbing that contact as well. So you got to sub. No, he's probably gonna play in the box more so than he will as a true free. But yeah, he's more of a versatile guy that can move around, play free, play strong. But I like his ability to come up and play the run more so than playing as a true free safety. But yeah, I think he's a guy that can do both. But I think his biggest impact he's going to make is staying down close to the line of scrimmage and using his speed and instincts to play the run. Yeah, but again, he's a really solid player. He was my fourth safety, and I want to say he was my 51st ranked player. So a little bit of a reach, but I definitely see why they did it. It was a position of need. They needed to fill their Clinton Dix hole, and he's a guy that can play free, he can play down. And they can kind of rotate in with Josh Jones and Adrian Amos, a guy they signed. That's really another reason it surprised me is because they paid Adrian Amos in free agency. So they paid a guy in free agency and they just traded up to draft a guy that's very similar to some of the safeties they already have. Okay, yeah, that sounds right. Yeah, and I would get. Seattle might draft a safety, but I would guess that that's probably the only safety that's going to go tonight as well. Yeah, Taylor Rapp's the
You're
40
naming all
times
the
hurt.
Cowboys safeties. Yeah, man. I'm hoping that
Oh my
I'm hoping
God.
that 4.840 makes him drop to the second round. We'll take him.
Eagles take Washington State offensive tackle Andre Dillard. I can't believe they moved up to take him. Andre Dillard's good. He's definitely
Colton Miller.
Yeah, you're talking about Colton Miller. Andre Dillard's a lot better than what Colton Miller was, but again, I'm just surprised the Packers trading up to draft Savage and then the Eagles trading up to draft Dillard. Those are just too surprising. If they didn't trade up,
They just got their Jason Peters of the future.
Yeah.
That's what I meant. I'm
Dillard,
not saying that's not a player call. That's what I'm saying. He's their future right tackle if they move Lane Johnson over to the left side.
Yeah, and again, Dillard's going to be a left tackle, primary left tackle. He's a guy who, he's great athletic ability, not the strongest, most technically sound guy, but he's a guy that athletic ability, and his hand technique is good. His footwork's got to get cleaned up a little bit, but he's athletic enough to where you feel like that can happen without messing up his game. So I do like this pick because I had him as my 27th best player, rank in my rankings. So picking him at 22 is really, pretty solid value. But then trading up, we'll have to see what the compensation was on the trade up to get him. But I don't mind the pick. I'm surprised if Houston looks at Byron Murphy, or I don't think Greedy Williams is getting picked tonight. So I think Byron Murphy could be a good pick here for Houston. Yeah, I mean, I Cody Ford, Dalton Risner, that's another option for them as well. I think it's either going to be a corner or an offensive lineman. I definitely think offensive lineman should be the pick, but it's hard to think that Byron Murphy probably wouldn't be the highest ranked player on the board here at 23. No, my only no. Eric McCoy possibly, but I think they'll want to go probably versatile guys. So I mean, they got Jawan Taylor that's still available. They have Cody Ford who's still available, and Dalton Risner who's still available. And for Houston, who has multiple holes, Dalton Risner would probably be the best pick because he can play tackle, guard, and center. So if they're trying to get a guy that can play multiple spots, Risner would be the best guy here. Yeah, and that's just due to his athletic ability because he's a guy who can get out in his pass sets. His kick steps are good. His hand placements is good, but his overall technique, his weight distribution, his pad level can be a little inconsistent. So he'll improve on that. But you look at his athletic traits, his measurables, his arm length, and go, man, we can mold this guy and do what Bro said, the left tackle of the future once Jason Peters is out and retired. Yeah, I mean, definitely. I predicted last night that I thought only one wide receiver and one safety would go in the first round. It's looking like that has a good chance of happening. With Oakland, on the clock next, I think that might be a spot where you could see one of these wide receivers go, and then with Baltimore as well. But
And that's got some John Gruden. Okay. Well, their offensive line is they've spent some draft capital there, but it hadn't exactly panned out, and they've also been beat. Jawan Taylor's still out there. He could come in and start at right tackle. They got to protect their quarterback. They got to get the ball to Hopkins. They got to go offensive line. And, man, you talk about falling. Jawan Taylor's a hell of a player. How's he still around?
Yeah, I just don't see how he couldn't be the pick here, though. In a team that needs offensive linemen so bad, preferably offensive tackles. He's a top 5. He's the 5th ranked player on my board. I just don't know how at 23 you don't take him and let him get healthy and then play him, because he's that good. And with its offensive line as bad as Houston's, they'd be silly to not go Jawan Taylor or Cody Ford here. But I could also understand how Byron Murphy could possibly be their top ranked player. So they could go at corner as well. God, I can't believe.
I don't know. It sure wouldn't be Titus Howard. It would not be Titus Howard, the tackle from Alabama. Cowboys.
Alabama State, not even
I
Alabama.
think we would have. What?
Said Alabama State, not even Alabama.
Wow, that's a reach. That is a reach. They pass. What's happening? They pass on Jawan for Alabama State. What are the Texans doing, man?
That was my 79th ranked player overall in the draft.
Something's up.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely heard some first round talk with him, but going in front of Cody Ford, going in front of Dalton Risner, going in front of Jawan Taylor just doesn't make any sense at all. He's not a bad player. I had him with a third round grade, so it's a bit of a reach, but not a bad player, just a reach. First round for the first round. Yeah, and like I said, I definitely heard some first round talk with him, but I figured that Jawan Taylor, Cody Ford, Dalton Risner would have gone in front of him and possibly pushed him into the second round. So that's what's surprising.
I could see that.
Well, their first pick in the first round didn't prove that.
All right.
I mean, it's hard to just blow it that bad. And I'm not saying they blow it. I think Clelin Ferrell's a good player, but
No, they blew it, man. They blew it. I was looking at the talent that was on the board then. It's like, whoa, you could have done what and you did what?
yeah, that's right. I mean, to have pretty much your run at the pass rushers minus Nick Bosa and pick a guy who again had a second round. He was my first second round player on the board, so it's not like he's a bad player. But you were picking 4 and picked the 21st best player with 1, 2, 3, 4 other edge rushers ranked in front of him.
Mickey Mack of the Jets screwed over Mike Mayock because he took the best player on the board, and everybody expected them to go edge rusher, not interior, because they had interior guys already, and instead he took the best player on the board, and I think that put the Oakland Raiders in scramble mode, and they did what they did.
Let's see, the pick is in. Let's see who they. I think it's either got to be.
I think you're right, man.
I think it's either going to be the runner.
This is exciting.
One of these next two picks should be Josh Jacobs.
Should be Jacobs.
All I want to know,
him.
Is the graveyard rocking? Is he coming up out of the yard going, yes? We need to know if there's going to be a guy with a wild track suit running around going, yes, the Raiders are back. Bro Reeve, you take the call.
Yes. It's happening, dude. He can't run around, but you put Metcalf on a stargo or a corner or a post, he's going to take the top off of a defense. And, dude, like you said, it's Al Davis 2.0. And who went out and got Mike Mayock? It was your boy Gruden.
Yeah.
So they're in cahoots. If Gruden wants Metcalf, and like you said, he can't draft, he likes speed. He may not be a route runner, but he can take the top off of defense on that post.
But they already got Antonio Brown.
Pick is in, and it's Josh Jacobs.
Ooh, wow. I guess we were on the wrong frame of mind, weren't we?
I figured it was either going to be this pick here.
The Raiders were high on him.
All right, well, all right, break him down, Connor. Josh Jacobs.
I mean, I definitely thought he'd be the first running back drafted. You know, everything about him is he's a good runner, good vision, good contact balance, catches the football really well in the backfield. He's a really good back for them. But again, why are you drafting a running back when you don't have an offensive line? You don't have, edge rushers. You still have Montez Sweat still on the board. You drafted Clelin Ferrell, but again, if you want to make up for the loss of Khalil Mack, then add 2 top-end pass rushers and use those, or draft an interior lineman here. And I don't know. I guess I mocked Josh Jacobs to Oakland in my mock draft that came out, my 7-round mock draft that came out today. So I knew, I had a good feeling they were going to draft him, but I figured they probably could have waited 2 picks and drafted, another player, a Marquise Brown. They could have added a receiver opposite side.
Here's my question for you, Connor. Connor, Josh Jacobs right here, okay? In recent years, running backs that have picked around this level, pick 24. You're not doing a top 10, top 15 guy. This isn't, what the Cowboys did with pick number 4. This isn't like that. Is this guy in line talent-wise with other running backs that have been picked at that level in the last 3 years?
Oh, no. I think it'd be a little unfair to compare him to an Ezekiel Elliott. I'm not. I have Jacobs graded higher than what I would have had Leonard Fournette at a few years ago, but definitely not as high as Ezekiel Elliott or Saquon Barkley.
Or a Todd Gurley even, but who went Gurley. Yeah.
But you look at a guy, you're picking him at 24 instead of 4, so that definitely has some weight to it.
Exactly.
And again, he's a guy with good vision. Didn't test very well, but he's got good burst and good explosiveness. And I think the best thing he does is catch the football. So, if the Raiders want to protect Derek Carr and not have him, embarrassing himself at times, then get a running back that can catch the football out of the backfield and throw him the football in short.
But now this guy
Dawson
never put
Robinson.
up the big numbers, did he?
Well, no, he shared the backfield with Damian Harris. He shared the backfield with Bo Scarborough. So I mean, again, you got when you got a running backfield that's got 3 draftable players in it, you're never going to get the similar to their defense. Those Alabama defenders never lead the league in sacks because there's so much talent, so much rotation going on. That's kind of the same case for these runners here.
Yeah, and then, Tom McAllister mentioned that. He called it the Bama effect because they're very hard to gauge how they're going to do in the NFL because they don't really get the touches or the look in their senior years, whatever, in their junior years before they come out. And Bama has a problem. Bama players translating their production, their one big year into the NFL because of that. It's really hard to gauge them, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Bama players are always tough to evaluate because the talent on defense covers up for the back end of the secondary. The pass rushers, make the secondary's life easier. The secondary makes the life easier for the interior guys. So it's always tough to evaluate and give a true evaluation to a lot of those defenders. But a running back, you can kind of tell, even if the production doesn't match, you can kind of tell their traits and if they're they have good vision and good contact balance and they can catch the football. And he definitely can. I mean, I definitely like the pick. I would have tried to have. I mean, I think Marquise Brown's going to go here to Baltimore. I would have liked to see them add Marquise Brown to Antonio Brown, have 2 dynamic receivers, and then you could have also gotten Josh Jacobs, where I don't think you're going to be able to get Marquise Brown now because I think he's getting ready to go here to Baltimore.
Well, yeah, Baltimore has a definite need there. That they lost their guy to Buffalo, wasn't it? Yeah, their wide receiver, remember from last year, Brown, the deep threat, Brown.
John Brown, yeah. I think did he go to Buffalo? Was it Buffalo? Yeah.
Old Smoky.
All right, so bro, you've been a little quiet here for a
They
little
got
bit.
Cole Beasley and John.
So we're going to actually let you dial this up, man. We got the Ravens coming up here. Talk about it. They had Brown, go up to Buffalo. They got rid of Flacco. They have their QB of the future right now. I mean, and he is, man, he's something different. And they're not afraid to run him, it seems. They're not going the protect him, change him scheme. What are they going to do here, man?
Well, I think it's kind of like you said, man. They got to develop that quarterback. They ran him too much, and he's not a big guy. He's only 210 pounds. He can't take those hits for 16 games like that. They're going to have to do something a little different. They signed Mark Ingram to replace Gus Edwards, so they're still going to stick with the run game. They're probably still going to use some read option. They're still going to use his legs, but they've got to develop him somehow as a pocket passer. And like you guys were saying, it's going to be a receiver here, Hollywood Brown or DJ Metcalf. If they stick with that run game, like I said earlier, Metcalf can take the top off of a defense. That would make those safeties drop back a little, open up a little more room for that run game. But, hey, Hollywood Brown can get behind a defense too. So it should be a receiver, but they have a lot of holes. They could go in another direction too.
It's a pretty exciting time for them. I like what the Ravens are doing here, man. They've quietly, been building a heck of a defense out there. And they could add to that. But, I mean, they've gone a different way. I got to give their, they had a GM, Ozzie Brown, for the longest time that was one of the most awesome GMs in the league and really didn't get the credit for it. And, I think he's handled it off well. I like what they're doing up there in Baltimore. What do you think, Connor?
Yeah, I mean, I like what they're doing. They lost a lot of their defense in free agency this year with, Ardarius Smith signing elsewhere and then obviously losing veteran Ferrell Suggs as well. So they have a needed pass rusher. So I feel like this pick either is going to be, a Montez Sweat or a Marquise Brown. I'd definitely go Marquise Brown because I feel like their depth at wide receiver is just not good whatsoever, where they do have some pass rushers. They have guys like Matt Judon, who was a later round draft pick a few years ago, who's done a real nice job as a pass rusher. So definitely feel like this should be Marquise Brown, but you never know. These teams have been known to throw us some curveballs here and there.
Well, yeah, and this has been a heck of a year for wide receivers, as the Dallas Cowboys made clear when they made the trade. with the Raiders and got that wide receiver, that they said that, like, hey, wow, insofar as wide receivers next year, we don't see a lot of first round talent. We know we want to go first round, so boom, we're going to trade for it. And that seems to be the consensus with the rest of the NFL at this point, doesn't it? Okay, we lost someone there. All right, the pick is in for Baltimore. Bro, we're going to try and get you to read this in, okay?
Okay, I got you.
All right, the pick is in, but, I guess it's a long way up to the podium there, okay? So
Marquise Brown.
The commission's up there. He's up there, Van.
All right.
My video must be in front of y'all.
Oh, gosh, we hate it when that happens. All right, that's all right. I have inside information here because now the Sports Talk Line Cat is on the set, and Abigail is going to give us inside information as soon as she finishes her water, which used to be my water, but is now no longer. All right, because it tastes like kitten ass. That's why. Okay. All right, Ravens selection in, and Bro, go ahead and call it out. Even though we have the inside info from someone who's watching an earlier feed. So,
Ravens pick?
Yeah.
With the 5th pick, the Baltimore Ravens take Marquise Hollywood Brown, receiver out of Oklahoma. He's only 166 pounds, but he's 166 pounds to whoop ass.
Oh, man, he's 174 pounds because he has all that bling on him. Did you see that bling on him right now on screen, man? The dude has some serious bling on. I know it's got to weigh at least 10 pounds on there. Okay.
He loaded down 5 or 10 pounds.
Easy money. I love it when these guys get so emotional. That kind of gives me some inside view over who really cares about what's going on in their life right now, and about how they look at the experience and everything. And this kid, this is an exciting kid, isn't he, Connor?
Yeah, he is my second ranked wide receiver in this class. He has been injured. He had I think they call it a Liz Frank injury to his foot.
Oh, that's painful.
So he's working back from that. But he's a guy who he gets comped a lot to Deshaun Jackson, has some Tyreek Hill to his game. He's just a guy that can take the top off defense, but can also catch the underneath stuff, break some tackles, and make plays after the catch as well. So you love his ability to get up the field after he catches the football. His speed is his best trait. He has good ball tracking skills and consistent hands as well. So he's a guy who can line up outside. He can line up out of slot and make plays for everybody. Washington Redskins is trading up to Indianapolis' spot at 26. So this is interesting.
Oh, man, this is interesting. But, hey, dude, going back to what you say, Bro, he just comparing him to Deshaun Jackson, getting compared to a guy that has, 17 to 19 yards average per catch or some crap like that. That's a dangerous thing, isn't it?
Yeah, he's a big play guy for sure. And Deshaun Jackson, he's still got some gas left in the tank too. Nobody's been that small as Hollywood, though. He's really got a slight frame. I don't know if he's going to be able to hold up. They played him in the slot in college. They played him on the outside. I don't see him beating press NFL corners on the outside in the NFL. I could see him in the slot. I could see him on sweeps. I could see him on all kinds of gadget plays. He can run a full route tree, and like Connor said, he can break some tackles. I don't know if he can hold up against press coverage in the NFL against bigger, stronger corners that he's going to face.
That's an interesting take. That really is because it's one thing to line up in college. It's another thing to run into Richard Sherman. Okay, that's even at his age, I'm sure that's a challenge. Okay, the next pick coming up, the Washington Redskins. Connor, you called that out. There's a lot of guys trading up for. Whenever you trade up, you're worried your guy's going to get picked, right?
Yeah, and I'm wondering if this could possibly be DK Metcalf. I predicted only one receiver would go, but I just don't know who else they'd be trading up for. They already got their quarterback in Dwayne Haskins. Do you go and get him a weapon like DK Metcalf? I'd be a little bit surprised. Just kind of everything that was being talked about is the receiver, the only receiver that was likely to go was going to be Marquise Brown, but I just don't know who else they would be trading up for right here.
Yeah, that's mind blowing, man. Again, Jawan Taylor is still on there, and I'm wondering how far he's going to drop. And I mean, Jawan Taylor is pretty much universally considered a top 10 talent. But injury news is dropping him, obviously. I mean, but at a certain point, do you see somebody like that and go, you know what? Screw this. Take it.
I don't know. I mean, it's funny because you go into the year, Washington has a solid starting lineup at offensive line, but it seems like they always get hit by the injury bug, and then they're down to, jobbers by the midpoint of the season. So maybe they want to go and target their O-line depth here. I don't know. I don't know who else other than a DK. Maybe I don't know. They look at Byron Murphy, the cornerback from Washington here that, a lot of teams like as their first corner.
Right.
That could be a guy, with Seattle coming up on the clock. Maybe they want to move up and make sure they get their top corner on their board. That could be an option. So I either think it's probably going to be corner or wide receiver here for Washington. But you never know. There's so many talented offensive linemen as well that they could be trading up to grab one of those guys.
All right, well, the Redskins go here. The Cowboys go next. I want to talk about who the Cowboys are going to take at 27. Bro.
Cowboys got 20.
Yeah, you cut out there, bro. Okay, well, bro's a little offline.
I said, how the hell did we get Cowboys at 27?
Well, it's their pick, okay? It's their pick, all right? So at 27, who would they pick?
Well, with the way I know that we've signed Robert Quinn, but man, I would take Montez Sweat. We only got Quinn on a one-year deal. I know Sweat had the heart condition, and there were some health issues and some character concerns. Dude, defensive end is a premium position in the NFL. You're seeing how much these guys like Tank are getting paid. They're getting quarterback money, 20, 25 million. Montez Sweat's fallen. If I was the Cowboys picking at 27, especially since we only have Quinn on for 1 year, I'm jumping all over Sweat and putting him next to Tank on the outside for the next 10 years.
Well, Connor, do you think gambling Jerry Jones is going to make a move on an injury guy, or do you think he's going to take the sure thing and go for the safety talent here?
I mean, I think if the Cowboys still had that 27th pick, which is meaning they wouldn't have Amari Cooper, they'd be probably looking at DK Metcalf here.
Ooh, good call.
They'd be in desperate need of a wideout, but
and there's no comparison between those two guys.
No, not at all. The more Bro was talking about Montez Sweat, I'm kind of thinking maybe Washington traded up to get Montez Sweat, and possibly that's the pick because they lost Preston Smith to free agency. They don't really have a second rusher on their team, so we'll have to see who this pick is. But I wouldn't be surprised if it's DK Metcalf, but I also wouldn't be surprised at all if it's Montez Sweat. I think that'd be a trade-up option for them. They had a player fall to them to the end of the first round, and they wanted to move up to get him. So we'll see what happens when this pick gets called. I haven't seen anything on it yet. I haven't heard anything, so we'll see. Oh, they just took Montez Sweat, so –
there you go. And that makes so much sense because here's the other thing I want to throw at everybody. They, other than quarterbacks, in the first round, the Redskins have actually been drafting pretty good, haven't they?
Yeah, they got their quarterback and got a pass rusher. Those are two of the most important positions on a football team. So you can't knock them for their first two picks in this draft.
All right. I really can't. The one thing I can do right now, though, is ask for a little social media love. Let's take that social media moment. And on YouTube, please give us that like and that notification. On Twitter, please go ahead and I'm getting the cat muffle here. Please go out and give us that retweet and that like. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much for tuning in. Yeah, man, Sweat kept dropping. And I got to wonder if Sweat and Jawan Taylor, that's similar things, man. But I guess a heart murmur type, and I said murmur, that's not necessarily the situation. But a heart issue isn't viewed the same as a wheel issue because the wheel is serious, isn't it?
No, and the interesting thing is the apparently the heart issue was kind of debunked today. They acted like he'd seen another specialist, and the specialist said that there was nothing wrong with his heart. So it's kind of interesting that on draft day that comes out. So you got to kind of be a little bit worried that maybe that's just some positive news coming out from the players camp. But at the same time, you look at it and go, if that's true. We're talking about a top 15, top 20 player that fell to 26. That's a great steal for the Redskins if he is fully healthy and the heart's not an issue.
Yeah, I mean, wow. That I got to agree with that. And why not take a chance down there, okay? I mean, this isn't like a top 5, top 4, top 10. That makes a lot of sense all the way around, if you ask me. I like this pick. Okay, the Raiders are up next at 27. My goodness. 3 first-round picks, and they've been Al Davis worthy up to this point. Bro, what do you think about that?
I think safety, man. I've been pretty. Hey, man, I hadn't been calling these shots very good. Y'all should have been first of the draft. I was 6 for my first 8, man. I've been swinging and missing. But Raiders, they got to be looking. Yeah, it's been bad. They got to be looking at safety. Deontay Thompson's still out there. He's got the pedigree. He's from Alabama. Mayock hopefully is calling the shots and not letting Gruden do everything. They could get Deontay Thompson and settle in the back end of that secondary.
Yeah, I think that they were kind of hoping for Montez Sweat to drop here and to continue to drop so that they could add to that pressure because, I mean, I think politically in the NFL they're catching so much crap for the trade to Chicago. The trade to Dallas, I think people are more okay with because they just are. I mean, wide receivers can be found, but pass rushers of the level of that guy, I mean that he is insane. So I see them continuing to try to recoup what they lost versus make the best move. What do you think, bro?
Yeah, well, too bad. Montez, they missed out on Sweat, dude. That 4.41 40. I know the 40's not everything, especially for a defensive end. It's more about your bend and your burst and that first step. But 4.41 at his size is crazy. And if they could have got him to just fill in, he's not the same player as Khalil Mack. He'll probably never be in the same breath as Khalil Mack. But just filling in that defensive end spot, that would have been a big get for the Raiders. They might have reached for that running back a little too early. Maybe they should have went Sweat at 24 and then came back at 27 and maybe got the running back. And, Van, I'm like you. I like Miles Sanders more than Jacobs.
Ooh, snap. Okay, what's your answer to that, Connor?
To the running backs?
Yeah.
I mean, I have Jacobs in front of Sanders, but it's not, a huge gap between the two. But again, going back to when they initially made the pick, I felt like they could have picked another player at I think it was 24, 23, and then sat at 27 and still gotten the runner. So I feel like they probably took themselves out of the Marquise Brown running, the Montez Sweat running to draft a player that was going to be there 3 picks later anyways. And that's a horrible way of building your team to draft a running back who, certain people will tell you that running back's the least, easiest position to find and the least important position on the field in today's NFL. So drafting a guy that you could have gotten 3 picks later and also added a, premier talent in Marquise Brown or Montez Sweat just doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Okay, I'm going to throw mine out here because I am an Al Davis fan. Why? Because I really like Al Davis. That's why. All right, and because of that, they're going to choose QB lock.
That wouldn't be a bad pick here. I think I want to go. I think they might have to go corner here, but I also wouldn't be surprised if it is the quarterback. I think it's got to. It's either got to be.
Not. Does anybody here believe that Gruden is sold on their QB car?
I don't know. Gruden's an idiot, so probably.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right. So no matter what he says, it is what it is. The pick is in. And by the way, I make references to Al Davis, usually in jest, because his last few years with the tracksuits and the hair were comical, and the draft picks. But let's not forget, before that guy changed the game. he truly wore the genius label. We got to
There
give him
goes.
credit for that.
Jonathan Abram just
Safety.
went off the board to the Raiders.
All right. What do you think about that, Connor? I don't think that's
Hey, I got the
necessary.
position right.
Hey, yeah, touche. You're on, man. You're on. So what do you think, Connor?
I was never a huge fan of Jonathan Abram. He was a guy that I know a lot of Cowboys fans liked, but he is a horrible coverage safety.
Damn.
Just can't cover at all. He was my 71st ranked player, and he's just a guy that can hit. He can hit you hard, and that's about it. His pursuit angles aren't very good. His tackling ability isn't any good. But if he's got you in his sights and he can line you up and smack you, he's going to smack you pretty hard. But he's just an inconsistent tackler.
I call him an elephant guy tweener. I think he's between a linebacker and a safety, and I think he's limited.
Yeah, I mean he's limited to what he can do and the impact he can make on a defense because he's a run defending safety. And I don't know. It's just
Well, and of
NFL
course,
teams-
they're in a division that has the best running. No, they're not. Okay, never mind. Scratch that. Okay, bro, what do you think about it? Bro, don't laugh.
Like you
Don't
said,
laugh
man,
out loud. Okay.
But man, he can kill you.
Oh yeah, if he hits you, and of course they have the Raiders love big hitters. Don't get me wrong. I remember when the Colts, Teddy the Stork Hendricks went to the Raiders. Yeah, only a few of us old guys out there remember that. Okay, he would just cremate somebody right there on the field with a hit. Literally cremate them. Think about it. Spontaneous combustion, that ain't nothing. Cremation is the next level. It is an awesome hit, okay? It's an awesome hit. And the Raiders, come on, that fits. I totally love that. Absolutely. Raiders Nation, yeah. It's a suck pick, isn't it? Pretty much. Hey, guys.
Yeah, man. Yeah, the game's changing.
True. All right, guys, look, we actually have a comment in from a fan, Radovan Fafalek, and a fan, come on, man. He's like, major owner of the company here, all right? And he wants to know not only the Rams, but the Chargers, who are up next. He wants to know who they're going to pick, because why? Because we're based out of Los Angeles. That's why. Okay, so we're here. We cover these guys every day. We have inside information on who the pick is going to be. I want to know who you guys think the pick is going to be.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's Drew Lock. I wouldn't be surprised if it's one of the linemen between Dalton Risner, Jawan Taylor, Cody Ford. I'd say between those four players, you're going to get one of those come off the board.
There you go. Bro, what do you got?
Yeah, he kind of took the word. Phillip Rivers isn't getting any younger. He's doing is spitting out kids left and right. They got to build for the future at some point. Why not pull the trigger on Drew Lock, let him sit for a year, learn under Phillip Rivers, and then step into that offense, and that team will still be rolling.
All right. I don't disagree with the logic any of you guys are espousing. However, think back to Eli Manning. I really wish Tom was here right now. When you have a GM that has convinced an owner that, hey, we're all in on the guy you got right now, why draft the backup? Because you're going to win with him. You're going to win with Phillip Rivers by surrounding him with talent. So that means you need either offensive line help, and there's a certain guy dropping right now that is an incredible drop, and or their defense has really been coming on as late. But hey, everybody needs to get to the QB, right? So I'm hearing that QB, though they are interested, is off the table in the first round. And what they're looking is to surround Rivers with more help, because they felt that in the playoffs last year that if they would have had just a little more offense, they would have gone. Now they get their tight end back, okay, from injury, who was out, all of last year, horrific injury. And
Honor Henry.
Yeah, and they had to bring Gates back. But, you got a QB there that, come on, they've been shuffling that offensive line for 6 years now. And they missed. They drafted Fluker at tackle. Remember that? Oh, God, that was a disaster.
I wouldn't be surprised if this picks a corner as well with Byron Murphy and Q Wood.
I like that. I like anything on the defensive side. I think it's going to be either offensive line or defensive help. Because that defense is driving that team, but they need to protect Rivers. They have the weapons on offense. They have the wide receivers. They got the tight end. They got the running back. They need offensive linemen, and they need defensive help. That's the only place it goes.
My gut wants to tell me this is going to be Drew Lock, though. I just got a feeling. I mean,
that's the value pick. That's the value pick.
If I was the GM, I'd pick Drew Lock, but Phillip Rivers is getting up there in age, and just you have a guy who has, very high potential at quarterback. You get this guy at 28 to sit behind Rivers for another year or so. I just don't know how you wouldn't think about doing that pick here, but I don't know. There's multiple ways they could go. I'd actually lock it down to cornerback or the cornerback or quarterback is where I would go, but I don't know.
If the coach is driving it, I think you win. But if the GM's talking to the owner and is trying to sell tickets, you sell tickets by getting behind Phillip Rivers and saying you're this close to a championship, and I just put you a little bit closer. So, once you draft his backup in the first round, his replacement in the first round, you're saying no championships, wait. Correct?
I mean, yeah, but you just – and a lot of GMs do think of it that way, but you just got to look at it,
Fans think of it that way. Coaches don't.
Yeah, well, yeah. But I just look at it as if you have a top quarterback fall to you at the end of the first round. Again, look at Aaron Rodgers when he was drafted.
Oh, I agree 100%.
It's just you had a guy with some questions, similar arm talent, a guy who can throw off base, he could throw from different platforms, kind of a similar arm talent, but he just, he's not quite the instinctive, guy that can throw with anticipation quite yet, and accuracy isn't there, but that's why he's available at 28. So I don't know. I'm interested to see what this pick is because I don't really have a good feel for it.
Hey, bro, real quick, ask you, because I just saw, we're talking about the Chargers, and we were talking earlier about the Raiders pick, Joshua Jacobs at running back. Now, he went later than Melvin Gordon did, but how do you compare him to Melvin Gordon?
Wow, they went defensive tackle.
Who'd they go? Chargers went defensive tackle?
Yeah, Jerry Tillery.
Okay, I like that pick. Go ahead and fill us in on Tillery real quick, Connor.
Jerry Tillery was a first-round player on my board, the 18th player I had ranked, so great value at 28. He had some not off-the-field issues, but a lot of teams were worried about his interest level in football. But interior lineman was a huge need for the Chargers here, and they addressed it with the last remaining first-round defensive lineman on my board. Interior defensive lineman, I should say, on my board. So that's a huge value pick for the Chargers, picking at the end of the first round.
All right, as we pass it off to Bro to talk a little bit about this pick, I have to give credit for those who have been listening and following. And if you went ahead and checked out Connor Livesay's NFL mock draft, which went live early this morning, late last night, at pick number 28 to the Los Angeles Chargers, Jerry Tillery, defensive tackle, Notre Dame. That's the one you called, Connor. I don't know what you're drinking, but you pass it on down here, my man. That's a hell of a call. Pick number 28, and you nailed it. Dude, insane. Okay, Bro, talk to me. What do you think about this pick, man?
Well, I think, like you said, Van, they're trying to win for now for Phillip Rivers. They got Joey Bosa. They got so they got their edge set on defense. Now they can put Tillery right up the middle, free up the linebackers that they have. They had some problems stopping the run last year. He should be able to clog up the middle a little bit and keep those linebackers free. They still do need a middle linebacker, some inside linebacker help from somewhere. But that defensive line is starting to get nasty. They're in the division with Patrick Mahomes. So getting after Mahomes is going to be ideal. You got to beat the Chiefs to win the West. And, that defensive line's nasty. It's a good pick.
Yeah, I like the pick all the way around. I like the way they're getting behind Rivers. I see him as an ageless guy almost. He's really exciting. If you're out here in Southern California, he's a guy that slowly won over everybody down here. It's very exciting. Connor, I'm going to flip back to you. The Seattle Seahawks are up next, I believe. There's a little over 5 minutes left on the clock. On your mock draft, you picked Justin Lane, quarterback, Michigan State, going right there. Should we just sign off right now and just let you finish it up?
I don't know. We'll see. You know, they need a safety. They need corner. They could still use some offense. I can't believe that Juwan Taylor, that Cody Ford, or Dalton Risner have not been drafted yet. Those three still being on the board is just absolutely insane to me.
Well, the Seahawks have 2 picks in a row, so they're going to take their full 5 minutes here. They're not going to move fast or waiting for phone calls, et cetera, et cetera. But, I mean, how can they not go offensive line here? I mean, look at the talent on the board. Ford, I mean, he's not injured, man. That guy is good.
Yeah, and I think the reason they might not is because
they don't need him.
You go Justin Lane, and then you go Juwan Thornhill, and you completely rebuild your secondary in 2 picks in the draft.
And boy, they have been catching crap about the Legion of used to be.
Yeah, and you know, Juwan Thornhill can be your Earl Thomas, you know, replacement / development replacement, and Justin Lane can be your development Richard Sherman replacement. And you know, those are two guys who kind of comp out similar to those players. And it's tough to rebuild a secondary because there's, you know, you normally got 3 starting corners and 2 starting safeties nowadays. But if you can upgrade and add 2 starters in your secondaries with 2 of your first round picks, that's got to be something that I think they're thinking long and hard about right here.
Well, you know, bro, I'm going to look at you, man, because the Seattle defense for a long time was the Seattle defense, and the Cowboys defense was Seattle light. Now it's reversed, and now they are the Cowboys light. Do you see some defensive help coming here?
Well, they definitely, you said they caught hell for not doing it. Deontay Thompson's also still out there too. Connor, I know you have some other guys higher, but man, these safeties are really starting to slip. Their offense is, I wouldn't say it's set, but they can run the ball with Chris Carson. They got Russell Wilson. They've got some receivers. The offensive line does have holes, and like you guys were saying, there's a ton of talent out there. Taylor keeps falling. Cody Ford would be a hell of a player, especially as much as they run the ball. But the Legion of Boom is a big question mark. Replacing that, their fans have been missing that. That Seattle 12, man, they're all about that defense. They got 2 picks in a row. They could just totally fix their secondary right now.
And I like what both of you guys are saying on that. I'm going to hit you first, Connor, with this, and just a wild card, fly in the ointment, if you will. You mentioned it, bro. They can run the ball with, and then did anybody else catch the name? That's right. Nobody really knows who's running the rock for Seattle. Since Marshawn Lynch has left, their running back position has been, shall we say, fluid. However, for what they need, I don't see the next running back, Connor, to fill that need as being like David Montgomery. Everybody else I think as being not a power running back. Do you see any running back that could possibly go here, or is it, wait till the second, third round?
I mean, they drafted Rashad Penny in the first round last year, so I can't see them going back-to-back first-round running backs in consecutive years. But, I mean, if they were to draft a running back, it would be I'd have Darrell Henderson. Memphis running back going, here, or possibly Damian Harris, the other Alabama running back going. But I just don't think if they draft a running back here, I think the internet / fan base would absolutely explode. So I think it's either got to be Justin Lane, Byron Murphy, Greedy Williams, or Juwan Thornhill I think they're going to go.
Okay.
They might add an offensive lineman in, but if I was them, I'd go complete rebuild on the secondary and add Byron Murphy with one of these picks, and then possibly look to maybe do a Juwan Thornhill pick, or if you want to, look at one of those offensive linemen.
I'm going to remind you, though, this is a coach / GM that decided to pass the ball when he had Marshawn Lynch in the backfield on second down. I just want to toss that out there, okay? just remember, there's a disassociative event there that pops up sometime. All right. All right, yeah, I like that, and I had to throw it out there just as a Al Davis Raiders type scenario. But no, I think you guys are on it. I mean, this is a defensive heavy draft, without a doubt, and the defensive line was really heavy. It's just taken a lot of the picks off the board, which leaves some sliding defensive backfield talent that I think in other years would have gone higher. So, man, I mean, normally you don't see that many defensive tackles and defensive ends coming off the board in the same year. I find that awkward, to say the least. So right now, to me, the talent at safety and at cornerback is really rich right now. Connor, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I agree. I'm surprised that Byron Murphy hasn't gone yet. I mentioned earlier, Greedy Williams was mentioned to, fall out of the first round.
Right.
That really isn't that surprising. But the fact that Byron Murphy hasn't gone yet, who I think is the best cornerback in this class, by far, I'm surprised he's not gone yet. And he's a little undersized, but he's, a fluid athlete. He's not a, twitched up guy who runs super fast or jumps super high, but he's a fluid athlete that just has fluid hips. He's a strong guy who can be physical. But his ball skills, his tackling, run support ability is up there with some of the best in the class. And then just his ball skills, that's one thing that I just mentioned. But his ball skills are just tremendous. I think he's got the best ball skills in his class. So
all right. Here's another thing to throw at you guys, though, okay? And I'm going to hit you first, bro. All right. They just traded away Clark. All right. So they need defensive line help, period. They don't have somebody waiting behind him that's going to blow up the NFL, to my knowledge. Would you be, maybe they're going to reach for somebody like Polite or Winovich here?
That would make sense. There's definitely a need there. And, a lot of people had Polite going at the end of the first round, somewhere close to the second most of the time. But in a lot of mock drafts, he was going late one. They got to get after the passer somehow, and definitely feel a need. I know I keep throwing out those tight ends, though. Russell likes to work the middle of the field. What about Irv Smith? He's still out there, too. We're not talking about tight end. They lost a couple of receivers. They lost, what's his name, to Washington, their deep threat.
That's a great call.
If they could use somebody to work the middle of the field, Smith might go.
That's a great call. What do you think about that, Connor?
Man, I don't know. They could look to go. I really like Chase Winovich. Ja'Kai Polite's off the field and athletic stuff is probably not going to get him drafted in the first round, so that would be a bit surprising. But they could look at Chase Winovich here, who's gained some first round hype over the last few days.
Right.
Jalen Ferguson, he's a guy who's been rumored to be liked a lot by a lot of these teams. He could be one of the selections here as well. They kind of got to think about it as these teams that are opening up in round two. So Indianapolis, Oakland, some of those teams that didn't get their pass rushers, they're going to be looking to target pass rush at the beginning of round two tomorrow night. So maybe they try to go pass rush here, seeing the amount of depth that's still on the board at defensive back. They feel like they'll still be able to get a guy, in the second round.
Okay, now what about this thing happening? And I'm going to slide it back to you, bro. Okay, what about this scenario here? Off the charts, but stranger things have happened. Basically, the teams left in the NFL look down and see who's coming up and say, you know what? Screw the Patriots. We're all taking tight ends, and between now and then, and you ain't getting one in the first round.
I love Belichick and Brady. They've had theirs. It's time to move on. Gronk's gone. They need to suffer. Let's just strand Brady with nothing for the next till whenever he's done playing. He don't need any more. They don't need any more titles. Let's stick it to the Pats. I love it, man.
Well, actually, strangely enough, I think both Brady and Belichick would love it because those guys live for challenges. So I think that would work. So in lieu of that happening, which I'm pretty sure it's not going to, Connor, I mean, they're sitting here with two picks. That's not yeah, they're sitting here with two picks, Connor. You've already talked about defense. Okay. let's say that they're sitting in there and they know something we don't. They go like, wow, we've got this UDFA over here we got last year that had a bum ankle we slid off. This guy is everything. We don't need any help on defense in the backfield anywhere. They got to go offensive line if that's not the case then, right?
I mean, you would think so. I know there's some questions about Doug Baldwin as well. So maybe they look at a guy like Deebo Samuel here that could play both inside and out and kind of play a similar player to Deebo Samuel. But I kind of find it hard that they pick a wide receiver with such pressing needs at defensive end, at cornerback, at safety, and at offensive line. I feel like they definitely have to go with one of those positions here. Just don't really know where they're going to go. They got so many kind of holes that they need to fill on their team, so we'll see what happens. Hopefully they can, they're definitely going to add some kind of defensive back talent with one of these two picks.
Yeah, I like what you're saying there, and bro, you and I can like jump on the wagon here a little bit. But what he's talking about, if I'm reading you right, is BPA is great at the top of the draft, but once you get down a little bit here at the bottom of the first, come on, need, man.
Yeah, you got to look at your team needs. You got to look at your roster. You got to look at where your team is and where your team is going. And, Seattle's got 2 in a row, so that kind of helps them out. They get to address a couple of spots. But definitely, after that upper echelon of talent goes at the very top of the draft, the cream of the crop, yeah, everybody says best player available, but everybody knows everybody drafts for need to an extent.
It's the best player
it's
available.
happen, but they got 2 picks in a row here, so they can do something.
Best player available at the positions I want, right?
All right, at 29 overall with back-to-back picks of Seahawks.
Right.
Tyler Rapp. Oh, snap. Well, that makes sense. Earl Thomas left, man. And I believe, Connor, you and I were talking on one of our shows. It's up on YouTube. We did it live on Twitter, etc. I asked you, and you described Taylor Rapp as being kind of an Earl Thomas kind of guy.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. Taylor Rapp is a strong safety. He's going to play.
Okay. Who was the guy you described like that then? I'm sorry. I don't want to seem like a total fool.
Deontay Thompson has some of those traits.
That was it. Okay.
Yeah, Taylor Rapp.
Well, my bad. So Taylor Rapp is an in-the-box guy. How do you compare him to the safety that went earlier, the ultra-light in-the-box guy?
Yeah, I mean, Darnell Savage is a guy who don't mind playing free. You won't be playing down in the box at strong. You can line him up in the nickel, where I think Taylor Rapp's a guy you primarily want to play him at strong safety. You want him, coming downhill, knifing through the backfield, blitzing. You want him doing those types of things. So I'm interested in the Seahawks picks coming up now, and I think they traded their next pick to the Giants.
Oh, my goodness. They're going to draft another quarterback. Tom McAllister's going to call back in. This is going to get ugly, people.
Wow.
Okay.
Seahawks draft TCU edge defender LJ Collier out of TCU. That's a bit surprising given the fact
wow.
Reach.
They went with Collier?
Yeah, they went with Collier, and then they traded the 30th pick to the Giants. So the Giants are back in round one.
Wow. Back in one. Wow. Gettleman is going for it, man. I tell you, this is insane. Bro, what's going on here? What are the Giants going to do?
Oh, my God. The Giants traded up and took – I'm sorry. Do y'all want me to wait?
Yeah, no, it's live. Blow it out there, man. Come on. We got the info.
The Giants traded up and took DeAndre Baker, the Georgia corner, before Byron Murphy, before Greedy Williams. DeAndre Baker is my cornerback. I think he's my third corner. Yeah,
he's not a bad player. We're not saying he's a bad player. Please do not misinterpret this. He's a good player.
Good player, but not on the level of Byron Murphy, who still has a first-round grade for me, and not on the level of Greedy Williams, who had a 1-2. So it's just
at risk of offending a lot of people. I got to throw this out there. Grandpa used to describe this best. He said he's a good egg. Of course, a hen's ass is full of them. So, I mean, this is a first-round pick, and you traded up. So they gave up value for this, right?
Oh yeah, they only came up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 spots. So it probably only cost them about a mid to late round pick. But still, you were gonna likely be able to draft that guy
And pay him less.
I just don't understand it, man.
All right. But anyhow, again, I got to go back. Gettleman has some gratis. I mean, he's done a lot of good drafts. But I mean, as long as he gets his guys, that's good. But to me, it kind of looks like Gettleman is like used to drafting in the second or third round, and that's the players he's drafting. This is weird to me, man. This is weird. On the other hand, DeAndre Baker, physicality, Connor, is he like, he's not a 6'4" guy, but he's not a 5'10" guy either.
No, he's got size, right? 6 foot, 200 pounds. But he's not a great athlete. That was kind of his not coming out.
Can he cover the Cowboys wide receiver that everybody's got to cover in the NFC East?
No, Amari Cooper will give this guy fits.
Exactly.
I mean, not a bad player, but he's gonna match up well with he's gonna match up well with the Alshon Jeffries of the world. He's gonna match up well with
a guy that can't really play the position. Okay.
But a guy like Amari Cooper will give him a lot of trouble because of his quickness, his twitchiness, and then DeAndre Baker kind of lacks that twitchiness. So once he's not going to be able to cover, like, let's say the slot receiver Beasley that left. They're not going to put him on him. And when you get a guy with a combination of physicality and quickness, there will probably be an issue, right? Yeah, I mean, I think, like I said, he's going to match up against guys like Michael Gallup, who the second-year receiver for the Cowboys.
And he could handle that. I could see that working. Yeah. Okay,
but when you get a guy like Amari Cooper who's just going to crush him with routes, he's just going to struggle because he's not that twitched-up athlete that can change directions and run with guys all that well.
Well, you got to get out of your division before you get anywhere else. They are drafting guys that I think do match up. Okay, so I'll give them that. But the first round, I just don't get, right here, I don't get it. I thought there was better players on the board where they could have done this. Bro, New York Giants, wow, they have owned the first round, but not. Do you think that they have moved up in the NFC East this year or not in the first round?
Yeah, I got a little different take. A lot of it depends on Haskins. Anytime you're drafting a quarterback in the first round, you're thinking it's a franchise quarterback. And, we'll grade this draft a year or two down the road or even 5 years down the road. If Haskins turns out to be the man, then this draft is over. They hit a home run because they got their quarterback late. But, Dexter Lawrence as a nose tackle, when they're switching to the 3-4, they're doing that to shut down the run game. Baker may not be an all-pro, but, hey, man, he's a starting cornerback for sure. I had a first-round grade on him. He can cover. And maybe they moved up to get him for that fifth-year option. So I got a little different take, and it all depends on Haskins. They got their quarterback of the future. He nailed this draft.
Well, I agree with you, man. Oh, go ahead.
Falcons are on the clock. They traded with the Rams, and the pick is in. They're reading it off now.
All right. Hey, bro, I got to hit you back. I like where you're going, and that's what I was alluding to. As long as you get your guys, then it's okay. But for next year, when your first-round pick is a QB that's not going to play, I don't think you really helped your team tremendously in the first round. But then when you come back, that defensive tackle, he's going to start. This cornerback, he's going to start. So you got 2 first-round starters. That's not a bad haul. I got to give you props on that. And I was not looking at it that way like you are.
All right, the Falcons picked Caleb McGarry, the offensive tackle out of Washington. That is not necessarily a surprising pick because he picked up some first-round steam, but, again, not a first-round player in my opinion. He is more of a 2-3 third-round player. That is a surprising pick by the Falcons, who needed safety help. They needed some defensive line help. Very surprising pick by Atlanta. But I will say that with this pick, New England's the last and final team on the clock for the first round for Thursday night, and they have I mean, I don't know how.
I don't know what they're going to do. Everybody picks them to pick a tight end. I don't think Irv Smith is a tight end that they're going to take in the first, so I could be okay with that. But I'm looking at the offensive line. I'm looking at the talent that has dropped, and I'm thinking Bill Belichick. Oh, my God. I mean, that guy loves talent, doesn't he?
They're going to take Jawan Taylor.
I could totally see that happening. I could also see him taking, a kicker. I mean, he's Belichick. And he gets all the room to navigate he wants.
Yeah, this is, I don't know, this is crazy.
Well,
My number 5 player is still available. My number 10 player is still available. My number 12 player is still available. My number 14 player is still available.
I love the talent that's sliding. And by the way, I don't think the Falcons made a bad pick per se. It's, at the bottom of the first, that's a second round pick too. And as Bro pointed out, you get that fifth year option if you want it. They're looking to protect their QB. I never think that's a bad option. I liked better guys on the board, but first, second round guy at the bottom of the first, okay, I'm okay with that. But man, New England here with 5 minutes on the clock, Bro, and I know that somehow they're going to screw over the rest of the NFL. How are they going to do it?
That is the question, Van. They'll pull a rabbit out of their, as Jason Witten would say, and it'll be some guy we've never heard of, and he'll kick ass for the next 20 years, and they'll win 2 Super Bowls.
Okay. I'm sorry I asked you. Thank you. Okay. Noah Fant is who you picked, Connor, that they would take. And, of course, that didn't come true. But you and I talked, and we knew Noah could go anywhere. Let me ask you this. If they do not go offense, where are they going to go?
It wouldn't surprise me to see them go corner. Byron Murphy is still available somehow. That wouldn't surprise me one bit. Greedy Williams is still available. Juan Thornhill is still available. I think they could upgrade their secondary with one of those picks, but I wouldn't count out one of those edge rushers. Jalen Ferguson, Chase Winovich, possibly even taking that risk on Ja'Kai Polite, the guy who's got a little bit off the field and athletic issues. So they have a pick of the litter right now to upgrade their already talented roster. So it should just be an easy pick for them as it normally is.
It should be an easy pick. With this much talent on the board, I think it's anything but easy. I have to disagree with you. I think it's going to work out well. But what a lot of people don't get is, but Belichick, he blows a lot of picks. But he's
not a great drafter.
No, he's not. That's what a lot of people don't get. But he knows that. So what he does is he gets a lot of picks, doesn't he? He's a shotgun drafter.
Yeah, if I was a team that picked at the front end of the round 2, I'd be picking up the phone and trying to just move a 5th round pick to grab one. I mean, if I was Cincinnati, Cincinnati, they went offensive line first with Jonah Williams. I'd move up. Who needs a corner? I'd try to give up a 4th round pick, move up, and draft Byron Murphy because you got teams like Arizona, Indianapolis, Oakland who also need defensive backs.
Right.
I'd send a 4th round pick to New England if they're willing to take it to just move back a couple of spots to move up to make sure I get my guy, my corner.
All right. Now, how about this? All right. Now, I'm going to ask you, bro. Okay. We'll flip it to you. I'm Belichick, and I'm going like, okay, crap, there's nobody I really want here. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to draft a QB just to fuck with Brady.
Yeah, Drew Lock. I would.
I mean, seriously, why not?
Wouldn't surprise me one bit to see this be Drew Lock either.
And to me, I see a QB here as being an awesome pick. I mean, because he wants to be able to motivate, control. I mean, Brady, not control. That's totally incorrect. He wants to be able to move Brady where he wants to move him. If he thinks Brady needs motivation, he'll do it. But then, come on, honestly, does Brady ever need motivation?
No, he doesn't need. And I think we talked about Phillip Rivers getting a little too. Dude, Brady's right there. They're talking about till he's 45. this could be the last year. He may not even make it through this year. So, yeah, I would build for the future. Belichick wants to get a Super Bowl ring with another quarterback. That's what he wants.
Okay,
I'm not saying he wants Tom to go away, but
I think Belichick's going to send a guy up to the board, and he's going to draft Jimmy Garoppolo. He really liked him, man. He did not want to let go of him, did he?
This pick could be DK Metcalf too. You know, they don't really have.
Snap! I didn't think about that. Oh, there's so much talent out there, but I don't think that really drives him as far as drops. I think he hangs out with Jimmy Johnson. He picks out guys that he looks for, and that he wants, and he figures out how to get them. He has really worked with Jimmy Johnson on that.
Akil Harry, Arizona State wide receiver, just went
There you
to
go.
New England to close out the draft.
There you go. See?
Ooh, that's
Nobody we had even thought of. Now I am pleased because this is what I expected from Belichick.
That's a good pick.
I agree 100%. It fits them, doesn't it?
Ahead of him, but I think that he's a very similar player to Metcalf. That probably is a little bit better complete route runner. Just a big physical guy that can go up and get the football and can test the field vertically, yards after the catch. He's a Belichick guy that's gonna get involved in that offense and make some plays.
So, bro, what do you got on this, man?
Yeah, my fantasy rate, they've got some needs at receiver. They've got Edelman and so, man, Harry, if he can, that system can be complicated. Brady wants you in the right spot at the right time, reading the defenses. If he can figure out that offense, man, he could put up some big numbers, especially year one. So I'm thinking fantasy football right now.
Oh, hell yeah. That's a great call. But, guys, actually, when we step back, retrospect is the clearest thing. And they're comparing this guy to Des Bryant, okay? You look at who got suspended this year. Josh who? Exactly. And then you look at guys that he has tried to get over the years, He picked up who had like a career year for him, the guy from Minnesota, Hall of Famer. Who's the wide receiver? I'm drawing a blank on the name right now.
Chris Carter.
No. The guy from Minnesota. Come on. Moss.
Chris Carter.
No, Moss.
Oh, Randy Moss.
No, I love the Chris Carter. Nothing but touchdowns, baby. Okay. They got Moss down there. He likes he knows how to use all sorts of players, but he really likes these big, physical, fast, down the field, stretch the field guys. He lost Gronk. Okay. There is no Gronk in this available right now, but there is a guy who plays like Gronk. Big, physical, Des Bryant type guy, gets down the field, gets wide open. He loves these kind of guys, and he knows how to use them. I think this is a deadly pick. What do you think about that assessment, Connor?
With Harry, I kind of see. I think the comp that everyone gives is Des Bryant. I think that's probably the closest thing you're going to get. He's a guy who
he wears his shorts low. Is that what you're saying?
No, he's just think about Des Bryant as prime. I think that's what you're thinking about with N'Keal Harry, a guy who's just he's gonna go up and get the football. He's gonna be a guy that can be a huge red zone threat earlier in his career, and then kind of develop into a guy that can win down the field.
Right.
And develop into a guy who can catch the ball over the middle of the field, break some tackles, and take some to the house.
All right, guys. The NFL draft is over. I got some questions I want to ask. We're going to go around. We're going to start with you, bro, and I'm going to hit you, and then Connor, you come up with yours. The first category is best pick of the draft. I got several categories here. Interpret it how you will. I'm talking about best single pick of the draft. Bro Reeve, who is it?
Oh, God.
First round.
Man, I'm going to go high. I'm going to take it. I like Quinnen Williams, man. Just can't miss. 6'3", 300 pounds. He's a monster. He's absolutely going to tear it up. The most surefire prospect to me in this draft. Unless he gets hit by a bus or something, this guy's going to be an all-pro for freaking 10 years. What a pick.
Can't disagree with you. I love me some Williams. Connor, I mean, this is your baby, okay? First round, you're looking at it. Out of all of the picks, which one was the best first round pick?
It's hard to give, so I'm going to give two. I know that's cheating a little bit. But
It's okay to cheat.
I love the Jaguars. Good value with Josh Allen in the mid portion of the first round. You know, he was third ranked overall player, and they got my third overall player. It picked, I think it was 14, if I'm not mistaken. But then I also really like, another edge rusher who went a little bit later than I thought he would, with the Panthers getting Brian Burns at 16. So they got my fourth overall player at 16. So I think both the Jaguars and the Panthers got really good value in a very premier position at defensive end.
Ooh, man, you went with two. I hate you for that, man. All right, here's mine, okay? I'm just going to give it. We're going to go on without comment from either one of you. Snickering is allowed. All right, I think the best pick of the draft is Kyler Murray, QB Arizona. Nah, I'm joking. That's not it. Okay. I just want to see if I get one of you to break in. Okay. But no, actually, the more I look at it, God, I hate to do this. I think the Washington Redskins nailed it with Haskins.
I would agree. I think I actually like their second pick more than first pick, if I have to be honest.
That'll come later. All right. The next thing, I'm going to let you go first on this one, Connor, as we roll back through. All right. What is the best value pick? Not the best pick. Not, okay, this guy is going to blow it up here. What is the best value pick? It's like, wait a minute. You got this guy at this pick? What the fuck? Who is that, Connor?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's got to be, Montez Sweat, who fell all the way to the back end of the first round. And if his medicals check out, then you're getting a top 15 player at the back end of the first round, and you'll take that every day of the week.
Oh man, that's nasty. So hey, bro, you drew second straw on this one, man. So you got to back that up, because I got to kind of agree with him.
Yeah, Montez Sweat was definitely the steal of the draft in the first round, but since that's taken, I'm going to go Jerry Tillery for the Chargers, man. They just totally solidified their defensive line with Bosa, with Ingram, with Tillery. Now they have a front four that can get after the quarterback. Like I said, they've got to beat Patrick Mahomes. That was a solid pick, getting Tillery that late in the draft, especially with the team needs and the way he fits that team. Tillery was a solid pick that late, other than Sweat.
Okay, screw you guys both. You took both my picks, so I'm going to give my best value pick as Connor Livesay and Bro Reeves as being here on the thing, man. Because nobody knows how much knowledge you guys got, but we do. Thanks for being here, man. That's my value picks. All right, I got one more though, and Bro, you're going first. All right, and I'm going to give you some time to think about it, and I'll talk BS after I give you the question. Best haul, best draft haul. Now that's probably going to be a guy, team with multiple picks. Okay. So be thinking about that. The best draft haul. And at first it was just like one or two teams, and all of a sudden the Giants are trading back in. We got, everybody trading down, going back up. You got Green Bay, you got Oakland, you got the Giants. There's lots of teams with multiple picks in there. Who nailed it, man? Or did a team with one pick come away with the best haul? Again, I go back to the Arizona Cardinals and Kyler Murray.
I'm going to stick to this, man. I'm taking a different stance. And, of course, it all depends on Daniel. And we can look back on this 5 years from now. A lot of teams were kind of high on Jonah. Killed it in the pre-draft process, especially in the interviews and on the whiteboard. He knows his X's and O's. So if he pans out, I know you guys didn't like Dexter Lawrence, but he fits a need too. He's going to stop the run game right up the middle of the defense. And I had a first-round grade on Baker. He's a solid cover corner. Of course, it's pretty easy to say with 3 picks in the first round. If Jones pans out, the Giants nailed this draft.
Okay, basically, I got to ask, okay, did Tom McAllister pay you money? Do you owe him money? I got to know, okay?
All right. I hope he's not crying and shivering in some corner somewhere, man. I hope he makes it to work tomorrow.
All right. No, I actually... Man, you got me on the fence. I'm going to have some thinking about this. I'm going to have some thinking about this. Okay, Connor, same question. Best draft haul.
I mean, I hate to say it, but it's hard not to say Washington.
Ooh.
franchise quarterback. I wasn't a huge fan of Dwayne Haskins. He was a second-round player on my board. But when you leave the first round with a, top-end edge rusher and a top-end quarterback without giving up any 2019 picks to do so, that's a win in itself there. And I mean, like I said, they got their franchise quarterback for the future, and they got their franchise edge rusher for the future, and they didn't have to give up any picks in the process in 2019's draft to do so.
Okay, so basically this is Dallas Cowboys fans' time to sweat. Because basically what we're hearing here, not basically, precisely what we're hearing here is that the NFC East, which I consider one of the most competitive divisions in the league, and yeah, I am biased about it, but I mean, the facts are there because the teams consistently compete for the top of the division. And wow, you're talking about two teams that came in with hauls. I'm going to throw in this one last thing, and I don't really have, because I like both of what you guys did. I would just throw in one thing. The team that did not come out with a good haul, I don't think, is the Oakland Raiders. Okay. On top of that, I want to ask you, last thing, your most favorite pick. Doesn't have to be the best guy. Doesn't have to be whatever. Just like, this team got this guy. Damn, that's a sweet spot. Okay? Connor, you're up.
I have to go Jerry Tillery to the Chargers to get a first-round player at 20, a first-round graded player at 28th at a position at need. That's just a win-win for both the team and the player. I think the scheme fits perfect there. He's going to slide in between Melvin Ingram and Joey Bosa and really just kind of have it, not made easy for him, but he's going to have some other players on that defense. And then they get a player that can play, multiple spots along the interior of that defensive line that can, affect the pocket, can rush the quarterback, and can play the run. So I feel like the team got really good value there, and the player went to a perfect situation. Wow,
well said. Bro, what's your favorite band, man? The one that resonates with you.
I gotta go. T.J. Hockenson, the Lions. They got
Screw you, man. That was my pick. You can't have it.
Dude, it was a home run. Like he can block it up in the run game. He can pitch it in the passing game. Hockenson was a home run for them so much. He's going to help out Johnson, their running back. He's going to give them a threat over the middle. They've got the receivers on the outside, and I think Hawkinson's going to kill it, man. He may not be the next Gronk, but he is an all-around tight end for them in so many ways. That was a solid pick.
Dude, I think you nailed it. I got to agree with you 100%, bro. I love that. I thought that is my favorite pick. My second favorite pick, since you took it, is I just love Garrett Bradbury to the Vikings. I mean, it's a solid team. You got a solid player. He's versatile. I look at him as a guy that's going to be, a 10-plus year guy. And he's going up to a team that really needs that kind of thing in the middle. I hope he ends up at center for him. He could end up at guard. I mean, we don't know that yet. But I just love that pick. And, yeah, I mean, it says a lot about you when your favorite pick is an offensive lineman. But we're not going to talk about that, right? Okay.
Let me throw in another one.
Oh, go ahead. Bro, go ahead.
What about our guy Devin Bush? Our guy Devin Bush for Pittsburgh, man.
I was looking at that, and I went with Bradbury. But I love that pick. I totally do. I can't disagree with you. All right, Colin, we interrupted you, Connor. What?
I was real quick before I got to get out of here. The one thing I'll say with all three of us being pretty big, Cowboys fans, reporters, whatever you want to call us, they are set up really well tomorrow with having the 58th overall pick. They have multiple defensive linemen, multiple safeties, and multiple cornerbacks, top-end cornerbacks and safeties still on the board. You got Taylor Rapp, you got Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, you got Juan Thornhill, which are three of their favorite safety targets, and then you got Joanne Williams, Justin Lane, and Byron Murphy and Greer Williams. 4 long, physical corners that they really like. So that's 7 players right there just between 2 positions that I know the Cowboys are interested in those guys, and that's not even counting the wide receivers, the defensive linemen, and the edge rushers. So they're going to have really good players still on the board when they're on the clock tomorrow at 58th overall.
Hopefully, there's 27 picks, and you mentioned 7 players, so there's 20 spots. It can go really ugly for us.
Remember, those 7 players were just defensive backs. They were corners and safeties. So there's going to be linemen, receivers, running backs, probably some more quarterbacks taken. So if they're looking for one of those safeties, if they're looking for a secondary player at 58, which it sounds like they are.
Oh man, I hope so. I hope so, bro. Let's segue real quick into the Cowboys section. And before you go there, Connor, because I know you got to log off right now. Everybody listening, please, you can find Connor on Twitter at Connor NFL Draft. Talk real quick, Connor, about what we're going to be doing over the next few days here as the draft goes on.
Yeah, man. We're going to try to be giving you coverage during the draft, after the draft. So look for some these draft classes from these games. Try to get up some winners and losers from round 1 before the start of round 2 tomorrow. And then, obviously after the draft, we're going to be doing, draft class and winners and losers. So we're going to let all of this stuff, play out. We're going to be covering it from front to back for you, all coverage from. Make sure you're following us all on Twitter and making sure you're paying attention, because this is a great week and it's just getting started.
Oh, man, I love to hear that. I love to hear that. Connor, thank you so much for being here. Sign off. We'll see you tomorrow. For everybody listening, hey, guys, check out Connor and Spinksy. They have awesome NFL draft profiles on all the guys that were drafted today. Well, most of the guys that were drafted today, and a bunch more coming. Go to Sports Talkline, or more specifically, NFLDraft.sportstalkline.com. And you can check out these profiles, get some up-close looks on these players. If you had a guy that was just drafted for your team, go there, find out what the take is on these guys so you know what your team is getting. A lot of fantastic work. Connor, thank you so much for being here.
Yep, thanks, guys.
All right. And, bro, it's you and I. We're going to close it out. The 2 old-school guys here. Well, at least me. Okay, all right. I didn't mean to age you there.
I'm old school.
All right, so, hey, dude, Connor set it up really nice, okay? That's a great place to end that. We pretty much have dialed up the draft. Dallas Cowboys are coming up tomorrow with their first pick of the draft, not their first round pick. And there is a ton of talent left on the board. What do you think about that?
Yeah, like Connor laid out, 7 defensive backs. And you never know with Byron's contract situation. There's a few sneaky needs we have. Cornerback might be one of them. Because the way the cornerbacks are getting paid, Jones is going to want to break the bank. And, with the Cowboys contract situation, we're paying a lot of guys. And there's a lot of guys that we have left to pay. So we've got a sneaky need at corner, maybe even right tackle, depending on what happens with Collins. So we'll be looking in the draft tomorrow for a bunch of things. Guys like Jalen Ferguson are slipping. Rock Ya-Sin are slipping. There's some good players, but watch out for old Jerry. He's sitting there itching, man. He can't sit around too long. If there's a player he likes that's starting to get maybe to where Jerry thinks he's going to get taken, Jerry's going to make a move. Watch it.
Jerry loves to see his name in the press, doesn't he?
Yes, sir.
All right, man. I got to agree with the premise Connor set out. The draft in the second round is looking really great for the Dallas Cowboys. It's going to be a lot of fun, but it's looking really great for a lot of guys. We had some slips, some dives. I can't really remember a draft where I think we had this many surprise picks in the first round. This has been very educational in that regard, but it is a new NFL. The rules are changing. Things are changing. They're scouting players differently, but I don't know, bro. I think there was a lot of mistakes made today. What do you think?
Well, you can't give a grade right off the bat. Everybody had our projections and everything, and you never can grade a draft till a few years down the line.
Sage words.
The Daniel Jones pick came out of nowhere. Yeah, and the kid from Alabama State. What was Houston thinking? That one came. So, yeah, the draft is always educational. There was some shocks. Poor Tom's out there somewhere punching holes in his wall, like he said. But, man, it was fun. It was fun.
I hope he's using his offhand, man. I hope he's using his offhand. All right, it was a lot of fun. The NFL draft is always a blast. Thank you so much for being here, bro. Your acumen, your knowledge, your insight, and especially your humor and good wisdom are always appreciated. Tell people a little bit about how they can find you on Twitter and what's coming up over the next week that you're going to be writing about.
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter. That's at BROEHAM. Coming up this week, we'll be talking Dallas Cowboys, the Dallas Cowboys draft, the draft in general, and then especially how the draft affects fantasy football. You heard that guy, that new New England receiver. You heard TJ Hockenson. There's some fantasy players that are going to make a big difference in their rookies. So we'll be discussing that this week on ProFootballTalkLine.com.
All right, dial in here to find it first, folks. Thanks so much for being here the first round. We're going to be covering the NFL draft through its entirety here on Sports Talk Line. It's a lot of fun. Once more, the social media love. Give us a retweet, give us a like, give us a subscribe, a notify. All those wonderful things. Without you folks out there, this doesn't happen. Thank you so much for your support. We really appreciate. Drop in the comments. Give us that lineup. We're going to work you in. We're going to make you a part of the show as well. Bro, always a pleasure. And to everyone out there, thank you so much for being here. And until next time, listen like you play with intent.